Hello, followers. This is Eric Dennis, and to a lot of you, this voice is not familiar at all. Well, it really shouldn't be familiar because this is my first show on national sports, and I really hope I enjoy it. My boy Robert Dieters invited me to do this. He really pushed me to do this, and I'm going to give it a try and see how it goes. I mean, I hear it's a really good way to listen to sports and debate and give just hear other people's opinions on sports topics, which I always love to hear. I'm a sports fanatic, so let's just have fun with this show and keep it rolling. This will most likely be a 25 to 30 minute show because I have things to do today, such as tennis, in which I have a national level 3 tournament this weekend, and I need to prepare for that. So, yeah. But, so, a little bit about me. I'm a sophomore, incoming junior. I go to Unibro Sarah High School. That's how I know Robert Dieters. The school's in San Mateo, and I played tennis this year on the varsity tennis team, and we got to the state championship this year where we lost, but it was a great season. So anyway, today we will be talking about the NBA Finals and Major League Baseball. Obviously, with the NBA Finals, there's the Heat and Spurs series, Game 1 kicking off tonight. I have my own prediction of what's going to happen, but I'd like to hear your guys' opinion, as maybe we'll take in some calls. And then Major League Baseball, a lot of interesting stuff that happened in the major leagues yesterday, including a 16-inning game in one of the wildest games I've ever seen in my entire life that was played in Seattle. And yeah, we'll have some fun, and I hope you guys enjoy my podcast. So with the NBA Finals, Spurs and Heat kicking off tonight, Game 1. The Spurs are coming off 9 days of rest, and the Heat are just coming off an explosive and not even close Game 7 win over the Indiana Pacers. So it's going to be interesting tonight to see which Spurs team is going to come out and which Miami team is going to come out tonight. Will the Spurs be rusty, as the Heat showed in Game 1 against the Bulls and they lost at home? Or will they be sharp and rested because of all the rest that they got? 9 days, that's over a week of time to rest. That can either be a good thing or a bad thing, so we'll see what happens. And with the Heat, they may just be sharp after that Game 7 performance, because that was a really, really good Game 7 performance that I think a lot of us expected the Heat to win, but not by that big a margin. That win also just solidified themselves too, because really for the first 6 games, I don't believe that was Heat basketball. Now, I'm not a Miami Heat fan. I'm actually a Chicago Bulls fan. But that was not... the first 6 games were not Miami basketball. Wade is obviously not healthy, but and Bosch is still struggling. But LeBron's been really putting it on their back for the past 6 games. Even in that Game 7, LeBron outscored Wade and Bosch 32-30. So even though Wade contributed, Bosch really did not at all. But one area that Bosch did contribute was rebounds. He had 5 or fewer rebounds in all 6 games. He ended up getting 8. Now, I know that's not a terrific number, but it's better than what he was doing. So, but he needs to do more of that in this series against the Spurs. Thiago Splitter and Tim Duncan are they're going to be just as effective as David West and Roy Hibbert were on the boards in the Indiana series. I actually expect more of that because Thiago Splitter is more of he's less of a finesse player. Well, West isn't a finesse player, but he takes more outside jump shots. Thiago Splitter does most of his work in the paint, and that can really help the Spurs because it stretches out Miami. And one of the things the Spurs do so well is they move the ball around until they get an open shooter. all 5 guys are capable of moving the ball around and running the offense. This team is so unselfish. They really do not care who takes the shot. And yeah, but also, like Tim Duncan, like he's the center on the team. He can run the offense if he wanted to from the high post position, which is a huge asset because when a guy like Chris Anderson is guarding him, who like he doesn't have like the best skills like on the perimeter, Duncan can take advantage of that. And when that happens, he can draw a double team and then kick out to an open shooter. One thing is the Spurs have great open shooters. I'm pretty sure they led the league in 3-pointers this year. So they always have 3-point field goal percentage too. That's a key thing. Not just how many attempts, but percentage. I'm pretty sure they're right around 39-40%, but that's huge when you get difference makers like that to just take advantage of the 3-point shot. Because in playoff basketball, I know it's low-scoring games, but the 3-point shot is really an equalizer in the playoffs. And which leads me to the next point where Miami needs to get better at the 3-point shot. Badier has struggled all series in the Miami series. In the Pacers series with the 3-point shot. Ray Allen finally came on in the second quarter of that Game 7, hitting 3 3-pointers, which really ended up breaking the game wide open for the Heat. They ended up having a 15-point halftime lead, which was absolutely huge. So that's one of the main reasons they won Game 7. But back to the finals. My prediction is the Spurs are going to win in a Game 7. That's my overall prediction because number one, the Spurs are more experienced than the Heat are, and in close games which basically every finals game is usually close, except for last year's Game 5 between Oklahoma City and Miami. The Spurs are much better in close games than the Heat are. Number one, they've had basically the same core group of players for the past 8 years. I mean, they had it since the 2007 NBA Finals where they swept Cleveland and LeBron James out of the finals. But it's going to be interesting to see who wins out. Miami obviously wants to move the ball around, get it to LeBron, and let LeBron facilitate the play. This is because LeBron, he's putting the team on his back, but if he can drive to the lane, LeBron's going to get his 30 points and 8 assists per game. That's going to happen. But honestly, I don't see if Wade does not step up like he did in Game 7, and there's still not enough production from Bosh. I mean, 3 of 13 from the field, only 9 points from an all-star. That's one of the reasons right now I'm calling the Miami Heat the Big 2, because LeBron's obviously a 1, but Wade and Bosh, to me, are considered 1/2. They're not all the way 1s yet. So it's not the Big 3, it's more like the Big 2. So I picked Spurs in 7 because they have better role players too, such as Danny Green. And I think Kawhi Leonard is really going to do a good job on guarding LeBron James. I really think so. He has the length, the size, the quickness, everything that he needs in order to guard LeBron. So, all right, so let's take some calls right now. If you want to call and debate about this topic, we can do it at 650-931-5822. That's 650-931-5822. We'll take some calls right after the short commercial break. All right, guys, so we are back here on nationalsports.com, Spreaker.com, and if you want to call, the number to call again is 650-931-5822, and we're going to debate the Heat Spurs series. And if you're going to call, I want you to give your prediction and why, okay? Because And I'm sure we'll have some really, really good debates here on what other people think. And give it a minute. If we don't get any calls, that's fine. I understand it's early in the morning, so if we don't get any calls in the next minute or so, then we'll just move on to Major League Baseball, which there's many things to talk about too about Major League Baseball right now.
Spurs.
Alright, we are getting no calls right now, but that's okay. If you still want to call and talk about the Heat Bull series, that's fine. Just do it. Just do it at any point in the show, and I'd be more than willing to take your call and talk about the Heat Spurs series. So now we're moving on to we're now moving on to Major League Baseball. There are many different directions we can go about talking about Major League Baseball, but let's start off with the Bay Area. Let's start off with the Giants. The Giants, I'm kind of worried for the Giants right now, actually. I mean, they're only 3 games above 500. They're not getting the quality starts that they need. Unless, actually, yesterday's start was okay until Zito fell apart in the 5th inning. But other than that, it was an okay pitch game from Zito. But throughout this whole year, we're not seeing the starting pitching that we're seeing from the San Francisco Giants, in which we usually do. We're not seeing it. I mean, Kane is struggling. The only guy that really has not been struggling, and it has been kind of consistent this year, is Bumgarner. But other than that, Zito's been struggling on the road. Lincecum's obviously been up and down. Vogelsong was struggling tremendously before that broken finger, and now he's out for 7 weeks. And then Kane, we still don't know where he is, but I will give Lincecum credit. That was a good start against the Blue Jays on Tuesday, a 2-1 game. The only run he gave up was a home run to Encarnacion, a very dangerous hitter who's very hot right now. So I can live with that. 1 run from Lincecum, 7 innings. I take that any day of the week. But the one guy who the Giants really, really miss right now is Angel Pagan. I mean, he really solidifies things at the top of the lineup. I know Blanco is an okay leadoff man, but Pagan is really the man at the top of the lineup. Whenever he gets on base, he creates so much havoc for pitchers because of his base stealing, and just things like that. Honestly, I think you could bunt him over to third base from first. He's that fast, and I've witnessed it in person too. He's that fast. So, honestly, right now, if the Giants need to start getting things turned around, though. I mean, Arizona, they have a game today against St. Louis. They just took, they've won 2 out of the past 3 games against St. Louis. Today's the last game. I'm pretty sure it's a matinee game of a 4-game set. So, if Arizona could lose that, that means the Giants would only be 3 games out of the NL West division. So, but Arizona and the Giants actually play this weekend. I forgot about that. So, I'm not sure who's going to be on the hill for the Giants on Friday, but I know they're going to be facing Paul Corbin, the Arizona pitcher, who's 9-0 with a 2.0 ERA. has not lost this season. He's very tough, and most likely the Giants will lose that game. But if they can get 2 out of 3 in Arizona, I think any Giants fan would take that. Honestly, I think any Giants fan would take that. I think so because, they're only going to be a game out when they really haven't been playing their best baseball. And hopefully they can get Angel Pagan back for this series. Angel Pagan was supposed to come back last Saturday, but that hamstring just does not get better. So hopefully it does get better, and the Giants can start winning some ball games. But what about Yasiel Puig for the Dodgers, the starter, the right fielder who just came up from the minor leagues 3 nights ago? Before yesterday's game, he was 5 for 8 with 2 home runs and 5 ribbies. And he seems to just kind of just electrified the Dodgers the past 3 games. And if I'm a Giants fan, despite all of the injuries and the bad baseball the Dodgers have been playing, they're only 7.5 games out of the NL West lead. So I consider the Dodgers still a chance to get even with the Giants and Diamondbacks. All right, we'll be right back. If you want to call in about more Major League Baseball, feel free, and we'll be back in a second. Okay, so we're back here on the show, and let's talk about some other Major League Baseball things. If any of you guys watched the Chicago White Sox versus the Seattle Mariners game yesterday, and was not jumping up and down in the 15th inning when Kyle Seager hit a grand slam to tie the game at 5-all in the 15th inning, then there must be something wrong with you. That was an excellent game. I was watching that on MLB tonight, and it's 5-1 in the 15th inning, 2 outs, 1-2 count to Kyle Seager, and I think the White Sox pitcher was Reed, and he pitched a little sinker, and Kyle Seager just blasted out of here into like 4 rows deep into right center field, and it was unbelievable. I've never seen something like that before in my entire life. The White Sox ended up winning that game in 16 innings, 7-5. But wow. I've never seen anything like that, honestly. So it is what it is. So all right, this is the end of the show, guys. I'm sorry, I have things to do, but if you want, feel free to comment below in the comment section. I'd love to hear you guys, see your guys' comments. Even if it's negative comments, like things that I should change, things that I should do more. I want to continue to do this more, and I want to continue to, just have fun on here. And hopefully we get more calls on this next time because, it makes the show a lot more interesting, and I love to debate about that kind of stuff. Thanks, guys, and have a great day today. Oh, yeah, and if you want to add me on Facebook, my name is Eric Dennis. I live in Foster City, California. And if you want to follow my Instagram, my name is Eric_tennis swag. That's ERIC_TENNISSWAG. So if you guys want to follow that, that's fine. And my Snapchat is also Eric_tennis swag. Thanks, guys, and have a great day today.